Nicki Minaj will not have to sell her Hidden Hills mansion after all. Nicki's legal team appeared in court on Thursday. She was previously ordered by a judge to pay $500,000 to a former bodyguard. That bodyguard is Thomas Weidenmuller, who is pictured above. Thomas alleges that Nicki's husband, Kenneth Petty, attacked him. But when the payment wasn't made on time, the court approved steps that could have led to the forced sale of her Hidden Hills home, which is valued at around $20 million.
Nicki Minaj just barely escaped dropping a massive $20 million. And it's wild because she almost lost her mansion over pure stubbornness. Back in 2019, Nicki was performing in Frankfurt, Germany, and things took a crazy turn behind the scenes. There was a security guard named Thomas Willer Muller. I might be butchering that last name, but he was working the show that night, and according to him, all chaos broke loose. Apparently, Nicki got into it with a female security guard, and when this guy tried to step in, her husband, Kenneth Petty, allegedly punched him straight in the face, breaking his jaw. Can you imagine that? Dude ended up needing several surgeries and now has 5 metal plates in his jaw. That's serious damage. So fast forward to 2022, this man decided to sue Nicki and Kenneth. He claimed $21,000 to cover medical costs and another $700,000 for the ongoing pain, emotional stress, and long-term injury, totaling about $721,000.
I know TMZ is pissed they gotta report this, but Nicki Minaj is not losing her home, as we already knew. A $500,000 judgment? And you say Nicki Minaj ain't got it? Nicki Minaj had a manager. This manager stole from her. She never even knew about this judgment like that at first. And when she found out, she didn't pay it right away because she felt like it was bogus. But she went ahead and took care of it. They basically wanted to run off with a narrative that Nicki Minaj would lose her home and that she didn't have the money to pay it.
But here's where it gets messy. Nicki and Kenneth didn't even bother to respond to the lawsuit. Like, they completely ignored it. And when you don't show up to court to defend yourself, guess what happens? You automatically lose the case. By March 2024, things got real. Thomas actually won the lawsuit by default. Since Nicki and Kenneth never showed up, the judge handed him a judgment of over $500,000. But here's the twist. They still didn't pay a dime. Months went by. Total silence. Not a single payment. Now, Nicki's living large in her gorgeous Hidden Hills mansion, valued at a whopping $20 million. So the security guard's lawyer said, "All right, if you won't pay, we'll take the house." They went straight back to court and asked the judge to seize her property. And shockingly, the judge agreed. The court was ready to force the sale of Nicki's luxury mansion to settle that $500,000 debt.
According to court documents, the property was at risk of being listed for sale to satisfy the judgment. That later sparked headlines and speculation that Nicki was at risk of losing her home. But now Thomas's lawyer just revealed that the judgment has been satisfied.
But before making it official, the judge needed just one final document from Bank of America, proof of Nicki's mortgage payments. Once that paperwork came through, the judge was prepared to lock it in and make that order official. Things were seconds away from exploding. At today's hearing, Nicki Minaj finally woke up and realized these people weren't joking around. Just hours before the judge was about to officially sign off on selling her $20 million mansion, she came through at the very last second and paid up. According to the security guard's lawyer, Roland Stone, they had to drag this thing all the way to the 1-yard line to get that money. Basically, they had to threaten to take everything before Nicki finally decided to cut that check. And let's be real, Nicki was beyond stubborn through this whole thing. They practically had to twist her arm before she budged. The lawyer even said it was wild how far things had to go before she did the right thing. But in the end, it's over.
So today we informed the court that Nicki Minaj has satisfied the judgment, and so therefore there was no need to proceed further with our motion for an order authorizing the sale of her house in order to satisfy that judgment.
What does your client think of this? How's he responding?
He is incredibly gratified and happy. It's been a long time coming to have justice finally done here. But he's very happy for himself. He suffered a very heinous attack years ago. And not only did it take years to achieve the judgment, but it then took nearly 2 years in order to enforce that judgment. And we never thought it would have to go quite this far in order to actually go and, put a levy on a millionaire's house, and go to the last 24 hours, before she decides to satisfy the judgment.
Nicki keeps her $20 million Hidden Hills mansion, and the security guard finally got his well-deserved payment after years of waiting. Still, you can't help but think, it should have never had to go this far. I mean, sure, Nicki probably felt her husband was just trying to protect her, and maybe she thought that security guard stepped out of line. But ignoring a lawsuit doesn't make it disappear. Like, what did she honestly think was gonna happen? You can't just go silent and expect a court case to vanish into thin air. Now, after all that courtroom chaos, the internet is buzzing like never before. Fans are split right down the middle. Some are cheering for Nicki, saying she stood her ground, while others are calling her out for letting things spiral this far. People are flooding comment sections with wild takes like, Nicki needs to handle her business, not wait till the last second. And, she really almost lost a $20 million mansion over pride? It's pure madness online right now. And here's the thing. This whole situation might have been a huge wake-up call for Nicki. For years, she's been known to move on her own terms. But this time, it nearly backfired big. Her lawyers had to scramble. The court nearly seized her house, and her name got dragged back into headlines for all the wrong reasons. One little legal slip-up turned into a major public mess. Now, with the payment finally made and the mansion safe, for now, Nicki's got some serious damage control to do. This wasn't just about money, it was about image, reputation, and how quickly things can flip when you ignore the system. She might have kept her home, but her pride definitely took a hit.
So Nicki won't have to sell her home. Nicki's team appeared in court on Thursday, and that's where it was revealed that Nicki paid the judgment and settled the case. It's unclear whether Nicki paid Thomas the entire $500,000 or whether they agreed on a different amount. But Thomas's lawyer did reveal that he found out about the settlement last minute. And Nicki did previously claim that she wasn't informed about the lawsuit by a former business manager. But looks like this case is settled and Nicki gets to keep her house.
Fans are waiting to see if she'll speak out or just let the drama fade. But either way, this whole ordeal is going to be talked about for a long, long time. Now here's where things get even more intense. Word on the street is that Nicki's team is doing everything they can to keep things quiet, trying to make sure this whole mansion situation doesn't blow up any further. But come on, nothing stays hidden for long when it comes to celebrity drama. Screenshots, court filings, and whispers from inside sources are already circulating online, and fans are connecting the dots faster than ever. Some people are saying this could mark a turning point for Nicki. Like, maybe she'll finally start moving smarter when it comes to her business and who's around her. Others think it's just another bump in the road for her long list of controversies. Still, everyone agrees on one thing. She barely dodged a financial disaster that could have changed everything. Imagine losing a $20 million home over a lawsuit you could have settled years ago. That's wild. And you know what makes it even crazier? The timing. Nicki's been working on new music and hinting at upcoming projects, but now this situation has shifted all the attention back to her personal life. Every outlet's covering it, every blog's talking, and fans can't stop dissecting every detail. It's messy, dramatic, and classic celebrity chaos at its finest. Whether Nicki addresses it or not, one thing's for sure. This whole case just proved that even the biggest stars can't outrun the law. Money talks, pride delays, but in the end, the court always wins. Now, with the dust finally settling, everyone's watching what Nicki does next. The whole situation left fans wondering, will she open up about it or just brush it off like it never happened? So far, she's been quiet, posting glamorous photos and acting unbothered, but people aren't letting it slide that easily. The comments under her posts are wild. Folks keep dropping lines like, "Pay your bills, queen," and "You almost lost that mansion for real." It's like the internet refuses to let her forget. Behind the scenes, her team's reportedly tightening up everything: legal, financial, and even public relations. They're making sure nothing like this ever happens again, especially since Nicki's name still holds major weight in the industry. And let's be real, one more messy scandal could have seriously shaken her brand. It's clear she's walking a fine line between maintaining her superstar image and proving she's still in control. Fans, though, are split. Some say she was treated too harshly, while others think it's about time she faced some consequences. Either way, Nicki's back in the spotlight, and this time, it's not for a chart-topping single. It's for almost losing her mansion over stubborn silence. Crazy, right? One thing's for sure. This whole saga showed that even a rap icon can get caught slipping when real-life responsibilities come knocking. Now that the chaos has cooled off, people are starting to ask the real question: what's next for Nicki Minaj? After barely keeping her mansion and finally paying off that huge debt, she's standing at a major crossroads. Some say this whole drama might humble her a little, while others believe it'll only make her even tougher. Either way, the story has everyone watching her next move like hawks. Industry insiders are already whispering that Nicki might use all this tension as fuel for her next era, maybe even drop a track throwing subtle shade at the situation. You know how she does, turning real-life controversy into hits. Fans are already tweeting things like, "You know Nicki's about to put this in a verse," and "She never loses, she just reloads." The energy around her name right now is electric. But behind the fame, it's clear this whole ordeal took a toll. Having your mansion almost seized isn't something you just brush off overnight. Sources close to her say she's being extra cautious now, focusing on tightening her circle and making smarter moves, especially when it comes to money and legal matters. At the end of the day, Nicki might have stumbled, but she didn't fall. This whole scandal reminded everyone that no matter how rich or famous you are, the system can still catch up to you. Still, one thing's for sure. Nicki Minaj always bounces back louder, glossier, and more unpredictable than ever. Now, with the mansion drama finally behind her, Nicki's trying to shift the spotlight back where she wants it, on her music and legacy. But that's easier said than done when the whole internet just watched you almost lose a $20 million home. Still, if there's one thing Nicki knows how to do, it's turn chaos into momentum. Word is she's already back in the studio recording new material that might touch on all the madness she just went through. Fans are hyped, saying stuff like, "If she raps about this court mess, it's gonna be fire." Meanwhile, entertainment blogs are still milking every piece of this story. Everyone wants to know what really went down behind the scenes, who handled the payments, how close she came to losing the mansion, and whether Kenneth had anything to say after it all exploded. The gossip hasn't slowed down one bit. But here's what's wild. This whole situation might have actually boosted her visibility. The controversy brought her name back into every headline, every post, every trending topic. So while it looked like a loss at first, it might end up being a major win for her comeback. Because let's be real, Nicki's always known how to flip the script. One minute she's facing court drama, and the next she's back dominating the charts. The queen stays standing, no matter what. At the end of the day, that's just how the system works. If you ignore a lawsuit, you lose by default. And if you ignore the judgment, they'll come straight for your assets. No amount of fame or fortune can save you from that. Honestly, that security guard probably deserved way more than $500,000 after everything he went through. Having 5 metal plates in your jaw for life? That's no small thing. The man's been through pain, surgeries, and years of waiting just to finally get what he was owed. And remember, this all happened because Nicki didn't respond to the case. One decision, one delay, and it nearly cost her everything. The judge had no choice but to issue that default judgment. And if Nicki hadn't stepped up at the last minute, her mansion would have been gone, just like that. It's wild how fast things can turn when the courts get involved. But now I want to hear what you all think. Was Nicki wrong for waiting until the very end to pay up? Or do you think she was just standing her ground for too long? Should that security guard have gotten a bigger payout? Drop your thoughts below, because this one's got people talking non-stop. That's all I've got for you today. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment to keep this conversation going. More drama, more stories, and more real talk are on the way. So stay tuned.